So, Amy Coney Barrett doesn't seem to think that there's any uh, bad treatment of trans people in the law, I guess. Uh, she says, one question I have is, at least as far as I can think of, we don't have a history that I know of. We don't have a history of de jure discrimination against transgender people, Coney Barrett said during oral arguments on Wednesday morning. You point out in your brief that in the last 3 years there might have been these laws, but before that we might have had private societal discrimination. Is there a history that I don't know about where we have de jure discrimination? By de jure, Coney Barrett means federally mandated, and she goes on to note that other minority groups have experienced that kind of discrimination while to her knowledge, trans people haven't. Listen, unless you codify trans healthcare rights and trans bathroom rights and that sort of thing, don't you expect that this is the same vein of discrimination that happened to black people, Hispanic people? This continuing, ongoing discrimination against women, and you just think that, unless we don't have any federal law discriminating against trans people, you think that is what counts? It would count if you codified those rights. That would be a positive light. Meanwhile, the precedent of everything seems to be that states' rights are deciding whether people will be discriminated against. Like in this case, Tennessee banning trans health care for minors. And you think, Ms. Coney Barrett, that the federal law not having discriminated particularly against trans people is stopping trans people from being discriminated against? Well, hell no. Stop being confused. Maybe you need to get you some trans friends and start figuring out what the hell's going on with discrimination to trans people. Because I can assure you that it's happening. Go watch the Transatlantic Collins show on YouTube. You'll learn a thing or two. It's a great show, by the way. Can you imagine all of the conservative Supreme Court members going to watch the Transatlantic Collins show? Well, that would be revolutionary in their education. That would just be shocking. Just imagine sitting here in my armchair watching The Line, and we've got a caller, Amy from such and such state, I can't remember, calling in to talk about whether trans people have been discriminated against. Man, that would be some amazing call, wouldn't it? I mean, what one thing would be transformative? That's maybe turned into a pun, kind of. But transformative for the United States. If justices could be educated in the harms being done to trans people, that would just be phenomenal. It would just take a few minutes in the relative history of the world for justices to be educated enough to understand how to make meaningful, positive precedent. And all they would have to do is just watch a few hours collectively of the Transatlantic Call-In Show. Of course, we've had some callers that just want to argue. They don't want human rights to be everywhere. They don't think that trans people exist, and you try to educate them and it doesn't work. So maybe I would be disabused of my feeling that a little education would help the Supreme Court conservatives if they were to call in. It would be unfortunate if that happened, wouldn't it? I'd like to see them give it a try, though. Hey, you conservative justices and the non-conservative ones as well. You guys go watch the Transatlantic Call-In Show and see if you can get some education. If you think you're overeducated, I don't think so. Do you think you're some of the most educated people in the United States? Well, you might be. You still have some lacking areas if you're not willing to give rights to everyone. It's going to be a sad time in the next 4 years if we lose more and more human rights. See, Doggy agrees. Love you, bye.